Hello, MFS family. Here we are with another Saturday Night Live. Where else would we want to be? Just enjoying, inspiring, and supporting each other in this journey, which everybody thinks we're lunatics. And we keep going because we know better once we've experienced what starts happening when we start dumping all that crap. So we keep doing it because how can you explain your experience to anybody? You really can't until you start doing it yourself. And this is the beauty of going through the experience that so many uh, just can't see why they would change their diet for any reason. You know, I was talking to a friend today, and how was he just got an MRI for his knee. He's been having knee problems for since we were teenagers. And now they just told him there's nothing left in there. The meniscus is gone. This is gone. That's gone. And I'm saying, well, you know, it doesn't matter what they say. It can be rebuilt. And it was going in one ear out the other, just as it has been for all the rest of these years. So we love them. We support them for their choices. And that's all we can do. But it's, you know, I can see, you know, when I was, before I got I got enlightened, I guess, and with this information, and look back at how I used to think about food and how I used to eat and stuff, and it's just like, was that really me? Because you know, I remember being introduced to fasting, and the first time when I don't must have been either late teens or early 20s. Somebody was fasting. I thought it was ludicrous because the person hadn't eaten for a few days. She was fasting and explaining to us all the benefits and stuff, and I was thinking it was totally crazy. That was my first introduction, and then
yeah,
and
like
then
it's not fun, it's not cool.
yeah, and then a few years later, I got handed an Arnold Ehret's book, and I read it, and I go, "Holy jeez, this makes sense." And then I was thinking back about the things I said to the person that was fasting before, and so on and so forth. But this happens all the time. There's many people over all these years that I would share information, and they thought, you know, this is not crazy or whatever, and then some of them, you know, maybe, you know, 3, 4, 5, even 10 years later, they were kind of open to the information that they were not open to at all before. It's just, I guess, when we're ready, we're ready. You know, if we're not ready, it's just not going to happen. But society today, you know, with all this corporate advertising, it's that we're being bombarded with left, right, and center. You know, it's not easy. It's I can see how that TV influences us, even if you're not paying attention. Just being on in the background, it has so much influence on us. And you know, that's why I threw my TV out many years ago, because I started noticing the more I watch, the more I want to watch. It's just like food. The more you eat, the more you want to eat. The more what you want to, the more you drink, the more you want to. The more you drink, the more you want to drink. It's a that vicious cycle of getting into some kind of addiction, like video games. I see the people with video games, the same thing, and then uh, people who do drugs, whether they're pharmaceutical or street drugs. I think the street drugs are probably safer to some degree. They're I'm not, you know, I'm joking, but
Because you don't live on them.
they're harder to get, and then you can't get them freely. That's one of the reasons. But
And also, you're not going to live on them. You're not prescribed them.
well, there are some that people that try and live on them for many
Yeah,
years.
but the majority of people would just try drugs, right? They would not live on them like they would live on the prescribed medication, right? So they
Yeah,
survive.
yeah, yeah. So you know, it's interesting when we look at all these different things, and then and then we see people doing, going through a master fast for short periods of time, 40, 108 days, whatever. And you can't even recognize the transformation in people, how much change has happened in that short time. For even the dogs that went through it, it's just amazing. Like Bev, who put her dog through the 108-day MFS protocol. What was the dog? Rosie. Rosie was the dog's name. What a transformation! Like it's like it looks like a completely rejuvenated, different dog. Just amazing what can happen when we put that trust. Well, yeah, the dog's doing great. From last time we heard, she posted. So the biggest challenge was her belief system to put the dog through. And I had a hard time when I had dogs and I started fasting them to put them through the fast, because I was doing the fast and then I was fasting with them for a couple of days a week, and it was challenging not to feed the dogs because you're so used to feeding them every single day. So it's just this programming that keeps running and keeps running, and it's not something that's simple that you just erase it and let it go. For example, if I don't know if you guys know about computer hardware, when you write something on it, it doesn't matter that you erase it, format, or whatever. That information can be recovered, no matter what. How many times you erase it, there's always a way to recover it. So once something's put out there, it's there for eternity, is basically what I'm trying to say. So that program running is always there. So what we do is we just upgrade the program. We know the old program is there, but we upgrade it, and we use the new and improved versions as we learn the new program. So it's not that we're going to ever be able to completely erase the old programs, and that's okay, because that's our foundation and where we came from. And also within that program lies all the heritage, all the ancestral lineage from our ancestors within that program, because we're part of that as well. So this is hard for any of us to really comprehend, even though I'm talking about it. It's just, how can we comprehend all that, this vastness of the universe, of God's creation? How could we possibly comprehend that? We can, but within, we are part of that, and it's part of us. So do we really need to know all the intricacies exactly of how everything works? No, but the interest is there for us, that we're curious, and he gave us free will to keep our minds open and be curious and look at these things, which is fine. But I don't think we need to go lunatic crazy to try and figure it all out, because if we look at what science has done in the last 100 years, it's not done much at all. It's actually gone backwards in health, that's for sure, and in taking care of the planet. So it's gone backwards for sure as well. So this is man's comes in, what the word I'm looking for. The thing that gets in the way in this realm is man's greed to control. And through corporate or whatever, et cetera, doesn't matter. But and therein lies this problem and this challenge for many of us to be able to freely express ourselves. Just think about it, if none of us had to worry about working to survive, to gain monetary exchange value, and we could express ourselves just through what we love to do, through our creativity. What a different world this would be. It would be a completely different world. It would be magical. I'm not saying that we can't have that magical world now, but so many, most of the people around the planet believe they have no option, and they're trapped, and so on and so forth. And that's because this program keeps running through all of us of how we've been conditioned and brought. Like we're the only species on on this planet, and probably in the whole universe, that has to pay to survive. And I find that pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Um, if we sit down with ourselves and close our eyes and think, if there was money was not an issue at all, what would you be doing right now? What would be the thing that you would really love to do if money was no object? Whether it's you had all the money in the world, or whether money doesn't exist on this planet, it doesn't matter. But if we remove money from the equation, what would we be doing for
Nothing.
ourselves? Sorry?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Fasting. Less is more.
Well, this is how creativity expands. If we look at children, it's been said that before the age of 4 or 5, whatever it is, all children are genius. And then what happens? What happens to that genius in all the children? Of course, they're all geniuses. If we're coming from the Creator, which created this vast universe and all the beauty within it, how could we not all be genius? So there's that program that interferes. What did they say? By the time a child hits 12 years old, they've heard the word no, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of times. And this is the challenge that we all went through. And we're not here to point fingers or anything. It's just to open up our awareness and look at the challenges that we're facing in this society through trying to heal ourselves. This is what it's based on, and why so many of us have this challenge. It's because of this program running. So what do we do? What do we do? We start with a new, yeah, we start with a new clean slate of paper, and we write down our goals. The power of the pen. We've talked about it a lot. You actually need to get a pen or pencil and write them down, and just sit there. Maybe pick a 5 or 10 minute time once a day, or maybe even once a week, and write your goals and make it a habit, and get into this routine to do that. And really focus on what you love to do and how you like to see things happen, and really continue to do that. Make it a part of you, so you get clarity of where you want to go. Because without a roadmap, we get lost. Now we have GPS, we've upgraded, but that roadmap is so important. Masterfast is basically a roadmap uh, uh, for the structure of our, our part of our lifestyle. But we have to go into, not have to, but we make a desire that we write down our goals and make it a habit, so we have a clarity of where we want to go with a clear roadmap. And that's really the thing that's going to separate people being successful and not being successful. If you like, success is mostly talked about, on the internet and books about money. But, the true success is your health. Without your health, what are you going to do? Once you lose your health, seriously, what are you going to do? It doesn't matter how much money you have. It's going to be a challenge. So there's so many people that put so much effort into really making a lot of money and doing everything against their health, and then they lose their health, and then they spend all their money trying to gain their health back. And we know that's not going to be the answer to get your health back. The answer is having a clear roadmap and a simple plan to allow yourself to to clean up your body, your physical, your emotional, your spirit body, and bring it back to balance. Clean up those pipes. That's the simplicity of it. It works every time if people commit to it, and never focus on the past. Just have a peek and remember where you came from, because it's always there. It's just there for us to take a peek, remember where we came from, and look forward, and use your roadmap to drive to that area where you want to go.
Yeah, we definitely become smarter when we fast as we become cleaner. As we get cleaner and cleaner, we have more and more clarity. It's easier to see what makes us happy and what doesn't.
Yeah, your voice is very low, Rana.
Is it? Okay. Is it still
Maybe
very low?
I think it's a bit better.
Yeah, so I was saying, as we fast more and more, and we definitely clear our bowels and our heads.
Yeah.
And this way, it's easy to see things for what they are. It's easy to see the reality of things
Today is
and
what?
face them.
Yeah, my mouth's a little dry today. I've been pretty much mostly on the colon feeding. Yesterday I had a little bit of liquid drinking, not much, but it's interesting uh, how powerful uh, you can you can access energies once you start cleaning the body up for several years without taking in any foods. You know, just doing the colon feeding, the MFS colon feeding, as some of you know, is not taking anything from above except herbal tinctures, half a dose at most if you like. We're just doing enemas or colonics every day, or colima, and we're doing the feeding, which is a misnomer, through the colon, because uh, that's the way that people come to an understanding. But the real feeding comes through removing the obstructions, so the body can actually feed itself. That's why we call it feeding. As the obstructions start coming out, the GI tract starts opening up its pranic or plasma field interchanges, so you can access the energies that are all around us. And this is the beauty. And this takes time for us to clean up that GI tract. It's a large area. If we opened up our GI tract over a surface area, it would be very, very large. I think somebody I was read is something like a tennis court or something. It's a huge, huge area, and people wonder why it takes so long to clean up the body. That's just your GI tract. Never mind the rest of the body. When you're looking at the cells at the cellular level, from your head to toe, there's a lot of area intricacies in there, and it's not only physical. There's the emotional attached also in the physical body, and this is why we advocate and that we must do enemas every single day on a mass fast protocol, except on dry days, of course. When we're doing the colon feeding, we're starting with enemas. But once you're already into a dry fast, you don't want to start doing enemas until you start washing from above first, because you don't want to be put in the position when your body's all dried and you introduce water into the colon. In that state, the body tries to suck it all up, and we don't want to do that. So that's why we have a protocol for dry. We have a protocol uh, for the master fast itself. We have a protocol for the colon feeding, and it's there's purposes for uh, each of the little differences and why we do it. And everything works very simply and very powerfully when you stick to the protocol. Um, so you know, like I feel like I can you know, keep going forever on this protocol at this time. Um, my energy levels are very good, very good. I'm even surprised. I I had a couple of days where, you know, I was off. A few nights that I slept extra, but most nights I'm sleeping much less, as most of you know. Once you're fasting, you usually will need much less sleep because you don't have to use all that energy digesting food. And here people think food gives you energy. If food gives you energy, how come you have to sleep so much more when you're eating? As I always say, as I always say, where does the energy come from to digest the food you eat? It ain't coming from the food, that's for sure. That's the fallacy of our modern day science and what we've been taught, and that program continues to run. Like sometimes I'm doing yoga on these longer fasts and so on and so forth, and the energy level is just amazing. And then there's negative thoughts coming in. This can't be possible. You gotta get something into the body. These stupid thoughts start coming through. It happens to me just like every one of you. It's just like that program, it kicks in, that monkey mind. And he's just, no, delete. This, I don't want to hear that stuff.
But once in a while, you're thinking to eat, right?
You can what?
I'm saying once in a while you're going to eat, right?
Yeah, of course. People can choose to eat at any time they like. I'm just talking about generalizing and what's been happening with me. I've been on this journey a long time, and we still got lots of things to correct and clean
Yeah,
out.
I mean, I'm talking
Uh,
about your short-term plan.
yeah,
You're going to eat once in a while, right?
yeah,
Talking about your short-term plan, you're probably going to eat once in a while, right?
yeah. We'll see. It's one day at a time. Today I'm not eating. We take it one day at a time, and we keep moving forward. But the beauty about fasting is um, we don't need the thought process to get in the way. That the thought processes actually only get in the way when we put the mind into it. And this is what we see with fasting in general. It's the understanding of what fasting really is still very much unknown by most people out there. Fasting is becoming a fashion now. It's becoming popular. People are, posting all kinds of things about fasting and so on and so forth because it's become the new fashion. And I read all the stuff. It's all science based, pretty much most of it. very, very little to do with the inherent design that's built within us and how it actually works. Um, People, oh, you're missing this and you're missing that and this and that, and furthest things from the truth. Um, you're accessing the abundant universe once you start cleaning at that level. So we have a few people that joined us. I'm glad you guys joined us. It's wonderful to have people join us because this is why we're here. And we'd love to hear from any one of you. What's happening, how's it going, any questions. Can't hear me blabbering all the time. Hello, everybody there. Sandy.
Jen. Hi, Gino. Hi, Ron.
Hi. You're looking good.
Well, it's getting there. It's been a wild few months and a crazy week.
Yeah, I heard.
Oh, thank you again for the other day. You know how I talked to you the other day about my arm
Yeah.
not smelling so fresh. My husband actually wants to just get that clarified as far as everything's going fine. Is that okay if you can discuss
About
the stinky arm and how it smells like decaying flesh? It's really
how is
strange.
it now? Can you move it? Do you have a feeling in it?
I can move it. Yeah, I have feeling. Yep, it's
Hey,
going. It's going.
was it still smell?
Oh,
Yeah.
it stinks really bad, Gino.
Really?
Yeah, it's.
I think I'm still just that dirty. Is that what you think it is, or?
What does exactly smell like?
I would say could smell
Necrotic
like,
tissue,
like rotten meat,
or a really bad BO.
or just a a stinky BM. Um,
Yeah, that's
me-
coming out of my arm. It's
you know, when
really,
somebody you love says, "Here, smell this," and you
How
don't give me that bad, and you smell it. I can't smell it from any distance, but if
you
I
you don't have any fever or anything, do you?
nothing. No, I've had, and
Your face looks like it's shining.
well, I did the dry fast. Gus and I did the dry fast right
You
after it happened.
you have an ozonating machine, right?
Uh-huh.
Do you know how to do a body bag? You put it in a plastic bag
Okay.
and you put the hose in it and just ozonate it for about an hour a day.
Wait, tell me again how to do that.
What kind of ozone generator you have?
I think it's the one that you recommend. I'll go get it.
Okay. Yeah, like if you're getting some kind of flesh rotting or gangrene or something, you're going to usually have some kind of pain happening, numbness in the nerves, fevers, so on and so forth. So why is this smell? I don't know. How bad is the bite? How deep is it? Okay, you got that one. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, how bad is it? I don't know. It's like
probably
I
down to the
it was probably down to the bone because it felt like he scraped it, and it's quite bruised. But
do you have pain now in the air on the bite itself?
oh yeah, it's
On the
painful.
pain, yeah.
Yeah. So can you repeat it? I'm going to show you.
So
Is
what
that
happened? Can you tell us what happened?
She
Was
got
it
bitten
wrong?
by her dog.
Was it a really bad bite?
and not his fault, but
No.
I was out working in the yard and we had a worker grading the soil, and he came into the shade where my dog was, because he always has to watch me because he's deaf.
Mhm.
And Gus was in the shade, and the man on the skid loader, came over there to work on the soil, and he ran over Gus. And so I ran to help Gus, and Gus thought whoever attacked him was attacking him again,
Yeah.
and he bit my arm. So this is so disgusting, but anyway.
No, it's not that bad.
No,
Okay.
it's gotten
So
so much better. I did the grass poultice.
yeah, the grass. Keep doing the grass, but
Yeah.
like with that ozone generator, you also have the dryer that came with it. It's
No.
like a tube thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's called the dryer. Yeah, with that attachment, because it produces much more ozone with that on.
I didn't know
Because
that.
yeah, because if you use ambient air, it's got a lot of moisture and it reduces the output of ozone. If you use the dryer, it'll boost the ozone at least 2-3 times. So put a plastic bag, any garbage bag, right, with no holes. You slip it on your arm. You put the hose in there and you run it for an hour and do that. Moisten the arm first with water,
Okay.
and then just put the ozone bag on it,
I'm gonna go get the
great
stuff.
idea.
and then do that once a day, just to help if there's any infection. But the body will push it out, especially when you're in fasting and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I'm not really even worried about the infection because it hurts, but it's so much better than it was the other day. So
Yeah, it's healing. I don't see it as anything.
the end that I put in the water. So
Yeah, just put that inside the bag and seal it with just tie the end so it
oh
just
my,
blows up. I forgot that you had an ozone generator. I just remembered, but
well, you gotta remember everybody. Okay.
and do that. Like people have turned around gangrene feet and stuff with ozone generators.
Well, that's what we've been talking about. I
Yeah.
keep telling my husband.
Well, that's why I'm asking you. How do you feel? Do you have a fever? This, that, and the other thing.
I feel sad today, but we've also. But
Yeah. How's the dog doing?
he's doing okay. He doesn't want to walk around, but he has started walking.
Excellent.
Not
Yeah.
great. I think there might be issues going on there with one
Well,
of his.
he's been
Yeah,
through an
right.
ordeal. He's been through an ordeal. So for myself, Sandy, it's your call. I can't tell you not to go see a doctor.
I'm not going to do that. I won't do
It's
that.
for myself. I know what the body's capable of,
Yeah.
and the smell. I just don't know. It's
You can also, yeah. So ozone.
do the ozone
Great idea.
just to give you another extra boost, because we've seen amazing things with ozone happen.
Also,
Okay.
you can
Wow.
look into a little bit maybe castor oil, 50% castor oil, percent turpentine maybe.
With
On
with
the wound?
with terps, mix it with terps.
Yeah, 50%
Just
castor
put it
oil,
on a glass
50%.
and then. Okay.
So 50-50. Castor oil and turpentine.
All right.
Then another thing you can do is
That'll smell better.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it just kill everything. Really. Whatever's growing.
Yeah, you know, with the grass poultices, I've seen wounds heal magically with no scars. The grass poultices, it's just
Well,
simple, simple, simple.
the other
You
day
know,
when I talked to you and I put one on right away, 12 hours later, you would not believe
the difference. Of
it was
course.
dramatic. Well, yeah, you would believe it, but
I, I just, you know, I just said I've seen magic happen with it. I'm going, wow.
yeah. And today it hurts more, but I think some of the swelling has gone down, so it's tighter and harder. But that
Yeah,
just tissue underneath is.
yeah. But your hand is all okay and everything. Then you have to
Yeah, I
move
mean
the
it's sore
arm.
just because I can't really do my pinky just because that's the tendon that runs right
Yeah,
there.
yeah. He bit it pretty deep. Yeah,
Yeah, he did. I think he scraped the bone, but no fracture. So yeah,
yeah.
no tendon damage. So anyway, all right. Thank you. I'll do the
Hey, thank
ozonator.
you. We appreciate it.
It makes Steve
Yeah,
feel.
well, you know, just the body can heal anything, and it's the only thing that really can. Everything else we do is an interference, and the body has to deal with that when you're interfering with it, when you're treating. But the things that we're doing, we're just assisting and supporting what the body's actually doing, and the fasting is really the key. Because these what they call infections, they're actually outfections. The body's trying to push out the stuff, so we're just aiding to pull that
Yeah.
whatever the body doesn't want out, and that's what the magic of herbs are doing, and why the grass poultice is such a simple thing for any flesh wounds.
When I put the grass poultice on, the amount of drainage that happened right after that, or in the next 12 hours, was amazing. And then I did it again for 24 hours.
Exactly. See, it's just by adding that. See the difference? This is what herbs do. They remove obstructions. This is what I believe. They don't give us anything. They remove what's not needed within the body.
Yeah.
So just keep your eye on it and just do the ozone, and you got the stuff there, and then do the turpentine. Just assist it more,
Yeah.
and you know, maybe massage the area a little bit. You know,
Yeah, I
keep
was
things
gonna
moving.
I'm trying to work it and just do things, we're putting
Yeah.
things together and just
Yeah.
working. But it is still painful, but I can do this now where
You're improving.
it wasn't happening. Yeah.
Yeah, that day you were pretty in a hysterical and maybe a little.
Oh yeah, you talked me off the ledge. Yeah. But he got me good. There's lacerations
Yeah,
on the other side too. He clamped down. He was a nervous boy.
yeah,
So we're
yeah.
getting
Poor guy, man. It's
Yeah.
Another
Yeah.
thing you can do is the plasma pads.
Oh yeah. For the paint pad.
if you have
Paint pad,
GANs,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I have to make new ones. I just threw them away today. They were a little
Do you,
bit rancid.
do you have any GANs? Just sprayed on the GANs, CO2 or anything?
Yeah,
Also,
I do.
as well.
I have them on my windowsill.
Yeah. The do you have CuO, the copper oxide?
Yeah.
The green one? Yeah. Use that one. That one is great for infections and stuff.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So there's lots of things you can do to support. But honestly, just the grass, if you're in the middle of nowhere, there's grass everywhere. It's all you need. Don't
Yeah.
eat, put grass poultices.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Steve says thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's great to see the miraculous things the body can do. We see it again and again and again. And when it happens, something new happens to us, there's always that little bit of doubt that runs through our mind. Because why? Because that program keeps running. And you know, what do? We continue to focus on our goals, and we have the support system in place now where there's many people doing many different things, so we can remind ourselves, especially on the times of these traumas, because the mind goes blank. It's happened to me. When you go through a crazy healing reaction, or you get into a little accident of something, injury, your mind kind of goes blank sometimes, and you don't know what to do. So it's good to have that support system where you can interact and remind yourself, okay, oh yeah, that's right, we can do this, that, and the other thing. There's so many things we can do and we have access to now with all those tools available. And it's just amazing that we have all that available to us now, which took many, many, many years to build our arsenal of these tools. Didn't happen overnight, but and we continue to build them as we keep learning more and more and more from people going through these cleanses, which is amazing. Anybody else want to share something? Ask a question? We have
Can I ask one more question?
as many as you like. I'm here.
Should I put the, to Rana and you, should I put the terp castor oil on while I'm doing the ozonator?
Do it after.
Okay. All right.
Do it
Thank
after.
you.
Put the ozone on its own. Just moisten the arm, just so it helps open the pores, and then just put the bag in the hose and seal it and let it run for an hour. Do that once a day.
Why does it have to be moist, Darn?
Sorry?
Why does it have to be moist?
To open up the pores, help open up the pores so the ozone can be absorbed much easier. It's like what we do when you do body bags. You either do a hot shower and just take the excess water off. You don't dry yourself, and then you put the body bag and you ozonate the whole body. But that's the reason. Or you can do a sauna or a hot bath.
Shelf back here.
It's
Other grape juice.
it's very effective. Like I said, there's many people who have saved gangrene feet and so on and so forth with ozone. Ozone is basically in a plasmatic state, so it's very powerful. It's how nature keeps the air clean. It creates ozone through the light and through also through
After the rain, right? After
yeah.
the rain.
yeah,
Also
through,
fire.
yeah, through the rain, through the thunders, lightning, and so on and so forth. It creates the ozone, the discharges. If photocopiers, those big old photocopiers, when they used to run, you could smell the ozone when they're making the photocopies.
That's so true. Wow.
Mm-hmm. And if you're in an office they were running all the time, you would smell the ozone. Some people are very, very sensitive to ozone, is because they're so plugged up. And once you start breathing in a little bit of ozone, it's trying to, what's it trying to do? It's trying to remove obstructions. And they say ozone's bad, this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, well, if it was bad, why does nature make it? I don't believe anything nature makes is bad. Everything is being created for a purpose. And the more ozone in the air just means there's more pollution that nature needs to take care of. And that's why it's producing more ozone, to try and neutralize all that toxicity that man has created. But that's one of the few isolates I love, and it's it's in a plasmatic state, and there's many things you can use ozone for. But some people are looking at ozone as a cure-all for everything. I find that it's you'll see more results happen with people using ozone that are more of toxic. For example, when somebody's been on a really clean diet and fasting for years, you won't see much happening with ozone. But it's great. When I started dry fasting, I would break my dry fast with the body bag. I have one of those little steam saunas. Those portable saunas are like $150. So I get in there, steam myself up, and then turn it way right down and put the ozone on and break the dry fast that way. It was pretty invigorating to do that. So I love the smell of ozone. When I started playing with ozone many years ago, it's been, I don't know how long now, probably 12 years or more, 13 years, 14, for quite a while. It was very difficult for me to breathe ozone. Actually, it's probably more. It would really bother me. Now I can take in much larger amounts of ozone without bothering me.
after. Oh, keep it in. I'll keep it just because.
Yeah. So anybody else? What do we have here? Diane, do you sell the ozonator? It's not. Is it? I don't think it's on the website no more. I think the people that were selling it, Amazon,
Yeah,
they
yeah, it
stopped.
is. No, no, no.
It's
It's
back.
on the website.
It's
Well,
back on the website.
Amazon, the Amazon is
It's
global.
it's an Amazon link. We don't actually sell it. We're just an affiliate.
So,
And
but it's a global. So it's if somebody like if one country is out of it, the other country is not necessarily out of it. Global, the link. So it will take you
yeah.
to your country.
So if you go on the MassFast website, you can
So
see.
it's not like it's gonna be out. It's every country is different.
Yeah, I have that one as well. But I also have another one that I bought many years ago. But it works pretty good for that amount of money. Oh, you already answered the question. Yeah. Okay, so where are we here? Anybody else? Everybody's quiet today. There we got Sandy with the ozone generator on. Yeah, like, you know, as I mentioned the other day, Sam, we forget very quickly where we came from, and that's the thing that uh, is interesting, because once you start feeling good, then a little bit of kind of setback thing is, oh man, and what's going on? But we once we understand where do we come from and how are we feeling right now, even though we're having some challenges, it's all okay.
That's when you think, oh, I can have that. That won't hurt me just a little bit. And then 3 days later, you do it again. And then 3 days later, you do it again. And then
The addiction comes back.
oh my gosh, it's just hard. It's so hard. I've had a hard time, but anyway,
No, no.
I didn't mean to say it that way.
You know,
Yeah,
everybody.
Great.
it's all a learning experience for all of us, and it's okay.
It's
Yeah.
more of a challenge for some than others. For sure.
But the magical part is my body is still, it continues to clear. It, I had the stagnation in my groin. That took a long time to clear, but it cleared. Now I don't have that anymore. Now it's happening in my axillary left breast area. And I'm not even worried about it. It's just so wonderful to know, okay, the body's clearing out. So I just keep plugging away, and it's working.
How far are you on the fast?
Oh, for this round, I'm only on day 9.
Okay.
So
How long are you going?
I'm going to go for 40.
That's nice.
I'm due for another 108 soon, but I'm going to do 40 this time.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, the body will heal if you give it the opportunity. You know, it was pretty painful. You were saying about the groin and so on and so forth, and it's you know, not nice, but once it's done and over with, wow, okay, it took that long, 2 months. What a short payback time.
It is. It's such a short payback time. And the varicose veins in that leg, they're
Gone.
going away. They're going away.
Oh,
Yeah, it's everything just starts to clear up. And
yeah, you look like you're 30 years younger than the first time I seen you.
yeah, 2 years ago, I was.
Yeah, it becomes so clear, right? It's so clear when you go back and forth between the fasting and the eating. I think that's why I loved Master Fast. I knew that I could not do any Master Fast weekly, because I knew like it would be amazing to just do the Master Fast forever. But I knew that when I was doing the Master Fast weekly, maybe this is like already super challenging, you know, as a lifestyle, because you're giving up the food for most of the time and eating one day, and it's also tempting, and you know, but at the same time, I think it's the most reasonable one to me as a lifestyle, while having all the benefits almost close to,
Yeah,
to all the
yeah.
benefits of
With the
eating.
weekly, yeah. Well, isn't it interesting that it becomes so clear that we still keep doing it?
Hey, say that again, sorry.
Isn't it interesting that it becomes so clear that it's the way you need to be, but we still continue to eat on occasion?
It's amazing.
We're all addicted. We're all addicted. Anybody who says they're not, yeah, well,
Right? Yeah.
Well, but most
it's,
people think that you cannot be addicted to food.
yeah, I know.
Yeah. So
Because it's a given that you eat
yeah, you have to eat for that nutrition.
to
Yeah.
survive. Yeah. It really has become so clear when you keep fasting and eating, fasting and eating, fasting, especially when you don't do well when you eat, and then you go back on the fast and clear the obstructions. You're like, wow, like like it's reversed, literally, right? Like I was able to help my body reverse this tumor or this whatever it is, benign tumor, cyst, something,
Yeah.
whatever it is, right? And you see it before your eyes reversing. I mean, it becomes so clear, what's true and what's not really. It's not rocket science.
No, it's not. It's 2 seconds of pleasure for the next few days to clean it out. It's like, that's not even worth it. But
Yeah, our, our belief system gets in the way and believes that we need to eat. So, we enjoy it occasionally, but we try and maintain clean eating as best as we possibly can. That's all we can do. And when we eat, let's enjoy it fully. Let's just enjoy it, because beating ourselves up is not going to, you know, do anything good for us. So when we eat, even if we go off track a little bit and the next day we're suffering a bit, okay, do I want to do this again? I enjoyed eating it, but do I want to feel this again when the next morning comes along? And only you can answer that question. Sometimes we do it again and again, and then sometimes we say, okay, I've had enough.
Fasting,
I've had enough.
if you have no plan, if you don't have a plan to, eat very minimally, I think it's easy to fall into the trap of the old habits where we were eating every day. So it's important to have a plan. It's important to have a plan to say, okay, this is how many days I'm eating, and this is so there will be discipline for a few weeks maybe before you get it. Like I said with Master Fast Weekly or even Master Fast, there's a discipline before you feel comfortable with fasting and eating.
Yeah, it's the breaking the fast is the biggest challenge, not the fast. Most people can handle the fast very easily. Doesn't matter what lifestyle they come from. It's when they break the fast is they're in a kind of a shock of how the body responds. Because once we start opening up the GI tract, cleaning it, a lot of magic starts happening with energies. And then we start putting this heavier food in, and the body's going, "What are you doing? Why are you plugging me up again? I just started working again properly."
And you know what? I feel that the damage doesn't happen from the first meal or the first day of eating. The damage happens when you continue doing it the next day and the day after and the day after. You don't feel horrible after eating. I mean, you want to eat your best, of course, always breaking especially. But I remember when I did Master Fast Weekly and ate the cooked food, right? Like cooked vegetables. Sometimes overeat, because you're experimenting and you're learning about yourself. And sometimes overeat, sometimes cooked food. And of course, I didn't feel amazing. Um, but I didn't feel horrible the next day. I felt still okay, you know. And I watched my colon and back on track, everything back to normal, back on the fast. But I feel, once if I don't have it in my mind that I'm doing it once a week and I keep eating for a few days after that, then it's a big trap. And also the feeling is horrible. You start feeling not so well and you start swelling. So you will feel the obstructions. I'm sure many people can relate to this.
I can relate to it. My face is my thermometer. It's I can see it immediately. Yeah. Here, I have the jawline that still is very stagnant.
Yeah, the eyes as well reflect the kidneys. For me, my eyes can like be swollen.
Yeah.
The next day, I'm like, oh my God, I want colonics. Just wash whatever is in your
Yeah.
body.
I call it the monkey face because it gets congested right here. So my lymph system is stagnant right around the mouth and nose. Why, I don't know, but that's where it starts to swell up right away. So when my monkey face comes back, then I have to stop.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. We all have different sensitivities in different areas of the body, and they become our signals. We pay attention to them, or we can ignore them, right? And that's why people get in trouble. They ignore it, and then they start getting in trouble big time again. But when we understand these are our signals, and they're our gauge to, remind ourselves, okay, I think I have had enough. Time to start focusing on cleaning up again. And every time we fast, we go into deeper layers and deeper layers and deeper layers. It comes to the point where you're gonna really just love the fasting, and you're gonna, it's okay to love eating. That's no problem, but you're gonna love fasting because it makes you feel amazing. And like our definition of fasting is not abstinence. It's tapping into different forms of energy besides three-dimensional foods. That's all. That's the master fast definition of fasting.
It's abundance.
Yeah.
Definitely less is more.
Yeah. um you know how do you explain to somebody who's been eating their whole life that you don't need to eat? They just can't comprehend it. But more and more people are coming to this understanding, living this lifestyle, on how food is not the answer. um, I was talking to somebody today about there's some fruitarian guy who was really strict and everything. Now he's eating raw meat. What can drive somebody to do that? Simple. They couldn't find balance. And one of the biggest challenges is with being on a fruit diet is, do you have local, fresh, ripe fruit available all the time? If you don't, good luck in maintaining that lifestyle. That's the problem I see.
I mean, it's not impossible, because if you eat very little
Well,
and eat only fruits.
yeah, but the if you look at the fruitarian lifestyle, generalizing it, they're big eaters.
Oh yeah, I know. No, I'm talking about fasting. I mean, it's doable with fasting. To eat very minimal and eat only fruits.
Smashing those calories.
Maybe calories. Yeah, I know. Maybe, yeah. I used to do
So
it.
yeah, so it's the understanding of how the body works is not there, because they're thinking it's in matter. They're thinking fruit is the answer, or the
I
herbs.
mean, they have some correct part to that, and that's that the fruit moves through you the best,
It's the least obstructive, yeah.
the least obstructive. So they have. It's not the worst. It's actually the best diet, but it's not the answer. It's not the answer, especially if you don't live in a tropical country. It's a little bit hard to access the fruits, and very expensive as well to live on a fruit diet if you're eating a lot of fruit.
Yeah, going from a sad diet to a fruit diet is very difficult because everything starts fermenting. You start blowing up. A lot of people get constipated, and it's not a fun transition trying to do it that way. This is where Arnold Barrett had his transition diet. But we understand a little more now. We have the master fast, so we can take somebody from a sad diet, put them on master fast, and then he can start living a very clean lifestyle. And hopefully that's this choice, because what's the point of doing master fast if you're going to go back to sad eating? I don't understand the point. But some people are looking at doing master fast to solve one of their problems, and they don't have the intention of living this lifestyle. It's not. It's not. I would. I would rethink it. I would maybe just do some shorter master fasts here and there if you don't want to change your ways, because doing a long master fast and then going back to your old ways could be lethal. when you go back to eating that way of
I
your old
think
ways.
most people have an understanding that they're not going to go back to meats. And if they do, I guess, or anything heavy, if they do, it's because they fall off the protocol. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, if somebody doesn't want to change their lifestyle, why are they cleaning their bodies in the first place?
Sandy, hold your arm up. There you go. That's how you do bagging with ozone. Simple. Doing two things at once, listening to and interacting and taking care of your arm. But yeah, even on the dogs, we had a dog that was in a fight with a very deep muscle flesh wound, and we were getting them to put the terps in the castor oil on it because you can't really wrap things on dogs. They lick them all off unless you completely wrap it all up. But it's best to leave wounds open as much as you can, unless you're just using a poultice. It's better to leave them open, and they'll heal much quicker. But the leg of this dog, which was torn apart, is all coming back and being rebuilt nicely on its own.
Gino,
Yeah.
should I not wrap my arm anymore?
With no, that's why I mentioned it because I seen you had a wrap.
I can't wrap because, well, I didn't have the grass on it this time, but I just had it on.
Yeah. Either have grass or leave it open.
But then there's so much drainage, so I didn't know.
We use the grass. The grass will absorb it.
Sure.
And just change the grass, right?
Okay.
Don't worry about the drainage. Yeah, just change the grass multiple times. You have lots of grass available.
Oh, we have a pasture out in the back.
There you go.
This is grass.
Yeah, you can use them on animals too, but they'll kind of, gnaw away at it if they can.
Okay.
But
I'm going to bag Gus's pelvis and use
sure.
the ozone on his pelvis.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you can do it.
Yeah. He doesn't move around a lot, so I think I can do it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's the thing is that you have a window open. Some people are very sensitive. You don't want to breathe in a lot of ozone. Some people it's okay. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. But yeah, no need to wrap things up if they're draining, so on and so forth. Yeah, you may want to put something on the opposite side, maybe, so to catch the drain, so it doesn't make a mess. But I like to leave wounds open. That's how they heal much quicker. So we don't interfere with them. And like I said, if you're using the grass poultice, that's your best bet for wounds that I've seen. For burns, what are they using? Aloe mixed with burdock leaf, blend it up, throw it right on the burn. And people have had very good success with bad burns and no scarring, no nothing, completely heal. Can you, just imagine throwing dry fasting and start cleaning the bowels and so on. Everything happens at a faster rate when you start fasting. Always, always, always for healing, fasting is the answer. It's so simple. We stop eating, start cleaning. Simple. It's sometimes a challenge to put ourselves in that state because maybe we're not ready because it was some kind of accident or something. But when we have this understanding, we know this is the way to do it because this is what animals do automatically. When they get injured or they get sick, they stop eating. We have that wonderful, amazing story from Salome. She shared about her cat. She brought it to the vet and they gave it no chance to survive. They said, let's put it down. And she said, no, I'll take it home and let nature run its course. She brought it home. The cat went into the closet and came out on the 66th day. Pretty much, she said it was the dry fasted, skin and bones, and she still has the cat. So, this is the inherent thing that is built within us. No thought process necessary. Just that today, man is so toxic. We are kind of um, in a state where, you know, the body is overwhelmed with these toxicities, and it's very difficult for the body to remove them. And you know, all these isolates that we've taken through our lives, through breathing air, through whatever, through ingestion, through drugs, the body stores them. And you know, people can't comprehend how the body stores them. It does. We've had people, you know, taste foods they haven't eaten in 20, 30 years, or, you know, drugs they haven't taken in 20, 30 years, because they get stored. And it may not be only the physicality of it, it may be the energy of it. And as it comes out, you're going to taste it, or you're going to smell it, or whatever, because it's only going to come out when you fast. Yeah, Brana.
I believe humans, we think we're so smart,
Mm-hmm.
studying more and more and more, and becoming less and less and less knowledgeable about basic stuff in life. And I believe that's the reason where we are today. We are so far away from reality and from nature. And we think we're so smart, that medicine is so smart that it can protect us, and it's okay to take pills for the rest of our lives. I mean, we really lost common sense. Sometimes when, you know, somebody asks me, my clients, what do you think about vitamins and minerals? I'm like, I'm not a fan. I said, oh, what about nutrition? When I talk to them about fasting, do you need to take vitamins and minerals? I said, well, if you need it, it would be next to you when you're born, so you can take it and survive. You definitely do not need these things. You don't know where these things will end up in your body. And I remember my father is a pharmacist. He used to have a pharmacy and work in pharmacy with pharmaceuticals. And one time he came here to visit, to see us, and it was maybe, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago. And I was taking lots of vitamins and minerals because I was reading health magazines, okay? And I was like studying, right? And they would say, take this calcium and this and that, you know, everything. And I would spend a lot of money buying these things, and I put them, and my dad came and he saw them. And he was like, what the hell is this? I'm like, what? It's good for us. I'm reading, I'm learning. And he's like, you're crazy. This can kill you. You know, you don't know where it's gonna go. It might end up in block your liver, block your kidneys. And I was a little bit upset because of his attitude. You know, like he was mad at me without really, you know, it wasn't very gentle. But then I did not forget. You know, I still remembered after he left that, okay, yeah, he's right. Maybe I don't need to believe everything that is in a magazine. You know, in a health magazine. Like you would think, oh, it's like scientific whatever, and this is correct, you know, studies and this and that. And I decided that's it. I'm gonna stop. I stopped them all at that time. I don't think I took vitamins after that. Um, and then, well, you know, when you get to the raw foods, you learn more about this stuff, especially into natural hygiene. You learn that, you know, supplements are not the way to go. Although I was supplementing until I met Gino, I listened to someone in raw foods, and I took B12, vitamin D3, and iodine, the two forms of iodine. Um, iodine, iodine, I think that's how it's called. And to help my thyroid, because I have a cyst, or I had a cyst. And I didn't stop them until 3 years ago when I met Gino. And I asked him, I'm taking these, I've been taking them for a year and a half on raw foods. Do you want me to, what do you think? And he said, I wouldn't take them. I said, okay, fine, I'm not going to take them. And 3 years ago, I started a massive fast. And, I stopped them. I sold whatever I had because I had many boxes. And they're not cheap. I'm spending money on these things. Yeah.
Yeah, I've spent fortunes on supplements and minerals and stuff. Fortune. And I spent fortunes on herbs when I was eating, which did very little. The
Yeah.
magic of herbs gets unlocked when you fast, is what my discovery was within myself through fasting. And it's just the revelation that came. It's just so powerful what we see and what happens with other people. Um, so, we come to a new understanding and we move along. But generally, as I was saying, as how the body holds on to all this stuff, it doesn't dump it until we stop digestion, which is very interesting. So it just keeps building and building and building all these years. So if you've never ever fasted, it's just a continual buildup of all these things until the body ceases to be able to function. It's just overwhelmed. And that's how death comes, which, oh, the guy was healthy as a horse. He just dropped dead. We hear that a lot, right? And or he had a heart attack or whatever.
Or you hear about Steve Jobs all the time. Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs?
Yeah.
What about that he was a
You hear about
fruitarian?
him all the time. Yeah. You hear about him. Vegan, he was vegetarian, he was this, he was that. I'm like, I don't know this guy. Okay?
Not
And
from what I've
plus,
read.
yeah, if he did it, he would have done it maybe for a short period. But
Yeah, yeah. Well, Master Fast could have helped him.
a massive fast can help anybody.
But there's also the cases of people that I find interesting that have broken a bone and years ago, and then they go on a fast and they get pain in that area. It's because the body wasn't able to heal that bone back to 100% because they were eating. It's that simple. So when you have that break and you fast, once you have the break at that time, it will heal it completely. It will go back to blueprint, especially if you've been a regular faster. Um, if you're doing it from a sad diet, and it's still going to help you, but the body's got so much work to do of dumping. It's going to pick its priority first, and it may not be the broken bone, depending where the bone is broken, because
Yeah,
it has much more intelligence than we do.
deep healing doesn't happen. Even when you're eating fruits, your body's still busy. Your
Hmm.
body is still occupied, busy getting rid of what we just ate.
Yeah.
It's the easiest on your body, but the body is still working hard, and and it's not gonna go into deep healing. It's just almost like, yeah, you're like, for example, if you have something in your head, if you have a tumor, this and that, I want to incorporate fasting for sure. It's not just food eating. You really want to incorporate fasting to give the body a break. Maybe do maybe daily dry fasting or something. Anything, but definitely fasting. And if you can do a nice long fast, then the body is going to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And we see what comes out of us as we go longer and longer on the massive fast. It becomes really, the releases are different when you go longer. The smell is also different. Um, yeah, yeah. Like I remember for me with dry fasting, as I go longer, like after a month or 2 months on the master fast, with like the weekly and monthly dry fasting, I have some mucus come out of my, I don't know, is it my kidneys? But like I like almost like feel like I peed on my pants. Mucus just as if a cyst has burst down there. Like I don't know, maybe it's in my reproductive system or urinary tract. I'm not sure, but it's amazing, and it doesn't come from the first day, the first week of fasting, or the second. It's usually longer, and it's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had mucus draining for years, years. It's just, where does it all come from? It's just, whoa, and my goodness gracious, just keeps coming out and keeps coming out and keeps coming out. And don't worry about it. Just keep going. Doesn't matter how long it takes, because it does take years to clean the body up. So what?
Yeah,
What
we
else?
have the rest of our lives.
What else are we gonna do? Go
We
back
can
to
do it.
food?
We can do it slowly. We can do it fast. It's all up to us.
Yeah, yeah. As the comment somebody made, it's not like diving off a cliff. I says you have a choice. You can dive off the cliff to start your 1,008-mile swim, or you can start in the shallow end. It's up to you. You know, if you have the time and you're not in a dire situation where life is almost gone, then you can go in the shallow end and test the waters and start that way. But if you're in a serious situation, you got to dive off the cliff, and you have to learn how to swim very quickly, and use all the support systems, your life jackets, this, that, and the other thing, that are available. Simple, very simple. But it's the other thing about fasting that scares people a lot is they get weak, they get dizzy spells, and they think it's because of lack of something, lack of nutrition. There's people who have to eat every few hours, otherwise they start getting dizzy and all that. And that's just a sign that their body is so toxic, so toxic. As people get up in the middle of the night, they have to drink or they have to eat to sleep through the night. If you're in that state, you have serious problems that you need to address immediately and start cleaning up that physical body, because the measurement of state of health is easy to do on somebody. Put them on a 3-day fast, and the way they react, you will know what state of health they're in. The easier it is on you, the fast, where it doesn't affect you at all, the healthier you are. The more problems you feel with headaches, this, that, the other thing, dizzy, the more you need to fast and clean up. So that's a simple gauge on how to test yourself and your state of health. A few days fast should be simple for people if you're in a good state of health. Um, and it's the body is not lacking anything. It's the body dumping toxins, pathogens, chemicals, drugs, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah, that makes you feel tired.
And it goes into circulation. The body's trying to get rid of it, and this is the challenge in today's modern man. Everything's so plugged up, it can't get rid of it fast enough. You start drowning in your own filth and you feel horrible. And people can actually die if they have so much toxins in them and the body can't dump it. You can actually die. And this is why all these tools we use, enemas, the plasma pudding and so on, and the herbs are crucial when you're cleaning at this level with a cooked juice that we use, because it's so much more powerful than any raw form of juice. A raw form of juice, your body's got to use energy to process it. The cooked juice is in higher order. It's there to clean like a liquid Drano. It's completely different. And you're getting the effects in the field
Yeah,
side much more.
the massive fast in my opinion, is a smart fast. Anybody can get into it and do it without problems, as long as they follow the protocol. But no guarantees. People are responsible for doing it or not doing it.
Yeah, it's just we're making people aware that the understanding of fasting is very low out there, very low. I see people responding all the time, and they just don't have a clue of what the body's really doing. We have a little bit of understanding. We don't have all the answers, but we have a little bit of understanding, and the results speak loud of how many people we've able to mentor and guide. So, Diane, what advice would you have for someone who is strong emotionally early in the day, but then caves, eats especially junk before the night is over? Yeah, Diane, the night seems to be a bigger challenge for most people at the time they're caving. So I don't know if you're on Masterfast or not. I think you're eating now because you're talking about caving. But on Masterfast, if that's the case, we would suggest you would do the plasma pudding in your last thing of the day, in the evening time with your tinctures you know, a couple hours, 2-3 hours before you go to bed or whatever. You got to work out your windows of your wet and dry to help settle that. The plasma pudding really helps settle that. Um, it's like you're eating, especially when you enjoy it. I love eating the plasma pudding. It's beautiful. It's amazing.
But if you
Abs-
yeah, if the question is for eating, then this is I guess she's talking about eating,
yeah,
the eating days.
yeah. The eating days. If just focus your meals later in the day.
In my opinion, the only reason we are craving more at night, well, big part, is we're tired. We're
That
tired
too.
from the day, we're
Stress.
working all day, and then we're tired, physically tired, right? And
Enemas will
and
help.
emotionally tired. And we many times mistaken being tired for hunger. You think that, oh yeah, when I eat, I'm gonna have the energy, and then you sleep, and you're gonna be even more tired. So, and I guess get into a habit where you sleep instead of eating at night, and finish your eating maybe around 5 or something.
That
Or
so-called
yeah.
that so-called hunger that comes up, it's not real hunger, because the more you eat, the more you want to eat. And the people that have been on this lifestyle understand that clearly.
And
As
you
soon as
will,
as soon
yeah,
as you start eating, it triggers hunger. As soon as you
yeah,
start
definitely.
drinking, it triggers thirst. So
And you will know by just sleeping instead of eating and waking up in the morning, you won't be hungry.
yeah, enemas, breath work. You get these, sit down, start doing breath work, or just go do an enema and breath work at the same time. These are things that will help. Um, you know, acupressure points, moving energy, do yoga, stretching, go for a brisk walk, connect with nature. Um, Many things you can do, to, you know, grounding yourself. Um, Essential oils. The one that a lot of people find that works for them is grapefruit essential oil, or you can actually get the grapefruit itself and just scratch the skin and smell it. That helps with these false hungers. I don't believe there is such thing as a true hunger myself, because um, I don't believe we're meant to eat three-dimensional foods. So, you know, once we start eating, we get hungry. It's triggering this thing within us, this addiction. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with eating. I'm not saying everybody should stop eating. But what I am saying is the more we start cleaning ourselves out, the more we're going to choose to eat cleaner and cleaner, because if we don't, we're going to feel it. We're going to and we're going to pay the price when we don't eat clean, because our body becomes more sensitive as we start cleaning out that GI tract. And
Yeah, you're not gonna be eating horribly forever because that's
you,
not life.
yeah, unless you're really stubborn and you really want to beat yourself up over and over and over, and you'll continue to do that, which some
But
people do. Some
I'm not
people
sure
choose that.
if Dan, have you done any master fast? Is this like your first that you want to do? So she says, I wake up convinced I'm going to start the fast, but then before the day is over, but then eat before the day is over. Every day becomes day one. For me, in my opinion, like yeah, we do these mistakes, but the most important thing is have a program for yourself, and
Okay,
if
so
even if you don't stick to it completely, because it's always it's not easy to change perfectly. Do your best to stick to it, but have a program because you don't want to be confused forever.
the biggest challenge, Diane, for most people is the first few days. Once you start clearing that GI tract, the cravings start going. So, lots of enemas. Make sure you're fully supported on the herbs. These are keys for emotions as well. They support the spirit, the emotion, and the physicality to remove these blockages and obstructions that are causing the energy to not move. And once you have stagnation, you have disease. So this is the key to move, get things moving. And all the things we suggested are to get things moving. The whole Master Fast system is to get things moving energetically. So once things start moving out of you, your cravings will diminish. The biggest challenge is the first few days, up to a week for most people. And once you get into past that, usually by 14 days is when people start dumping the really old stuff, is the average. Some people were so locked up, it took either 50, 60 days before they started dumping the old stuff. So you can imagine. And how do you know? The nose knows. It'll be a completely different smell, horrifying to anything else that passes through you. So that's how you will know. It's the old stuff. And once that starts coming out, it's kind of a relief that the body, once it purges it. So bowels are key to keep them moving, and all the rest of the tools that we suggested. But you can try any one of those. You know, even to us veterans, sometimes we think we want to start a fast one day, and that day comes around, and for whatever reason, it didn't start that day. And this may go on. It happens to me sometimes. It may go on for, oh, that doesn't happen this week. And, you know, just got to reset that mind, and bang, and then the next week comes along and you start it.
Yeah, it took me
Clean.
33 days to start this one.
Yeah, clean, 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 and bang. When you're ready, you will start. When you've suffered enough pain and suffering and misery,
No.
you'll start.
You don't want to kill yourself. don't go crazy. But don't give up for sure. It took me, as I said, 33 days to start this one. Today's day 15.
Yeah, but you just did 117 days.
Yeah, 116.
16, you're 16.
It was a long one, and I guess I ate, and I was like, oh yeah, getting back right on tomorrow. You know? Yeah, he was talking to me. He was like, "What, you're eating?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I was planning to eat because they were doing Ramadan, so I decided to eat actually. And then for me, eating is not easy. Master fast weekly was the only way I can eat healthy. Really. But otherwise, I have not done a good job breaking my fast. That's the truth, you know. Although I take full responsibility for everything. It's also I'm working, and sometimes like you, like I go to work and I'm thinking I'm going fasting, you know, I have my juice, I have my lemon juice, I have my herbs and everything ready, my plasma pudding, and then I'm like, you know, I ate yesterday, so I'm gonna eat today. You know, it's hard to start the first day. You know, and you're tempted. There is a raw vegan place right next to me. You know, it's the first raw vegan place in Toronto. Right next to me. Like, I don't have to go anywhere, you know. And I would order from there, and it's just, you know, and then I start eating the cooked food, and the salt and the oils and the nuts, and, you know, and it's really heavy, and tofu, whatever. Don't do that, guys. I mean, this is my full responsibility for my mistakes. Do whatever you want, but this is my life, you know, so I'm responsible for it. And all I'm saying is that it's not, you know, once I put the food in my mouth and I have no plan, it's not easy. It's really, for me, it's hard. Master Fast Weekly was doable because I didn't have the food in my belly for too long. When you have it for long, like, the cravings come back for me, and they're, you know, like, they're just going to try this and try that. And I'm sure people relate, you know. Gino's very good with he's like he just gets back on his dry fast, weekly dry fast. If he eats for a few days, sometimes, you know, trying something different, at least he is keeping his dry fast, you know, keep him, you know, to maintain. For me, I feel like once I'm eating every day, I can't dry fast. Not a good idea.
What should you say here? I did 30 days last year. It was fresh and new. I could stick with it. I keep trying my eyes off the prize, taking my eyes off the prize. I didn't know about the herbs. Awesome. What do you mean didn't know about the herbs? It's all over our information. No
It's part of
herbs.
the protocol.
There's no master fast without any herbs, and that's not supported by us. It's actually very it's something not wise to do a juice fast with cooked juice, a juice only fast. It's crazy. Herbs, how they open up you spiritually. Uh, Herbs are here to for the reason to teach us, and they are for the purpose of times that we can use their assistance, meaning in disease state. And this is why we use the spirit to extract them, alcohol. So we can take the spirit of the herb into the alcohol, and then it feeds our spirit. And as I was talking earlier, what the herbs do is they're removing blockages, they're removing obstructions in the physicality, in the emotion, and in the spirit. And they are so necessary and vital on master fast and in today's toxic man when you're on a fasting regime this powerful. There's so much misinformation out there that people have taken from master fast and have what's the word I'm looking for, bastardized the master fast system. We see a lot out there since we started sharing master fast. Fasting generally has become a huge more interest out there. Like I said earlier, was becoming a fashion, but the information that is out there on the understanding of it, it's just not at the level that what we're doing, because the regeneration that's happening with the people on a true master fast is incredible, and it's amazing, and it happens all the time when people follow the protocol properly and don't get themselves in trouble. We've had several people that went off the protocol doing their own things and got themselves in real trouble and then come asking for help. It's just something that we're not comfortable with. They're not listening to us, and they go do their own thing, and then they still come back for help. And they're not supporting us at all in any way, shape, or form. It's but this is the nature of some people, and it is what it is. But if it doesn't come from the horse's mouth, it's not the truth. And Master Fast system, we've closed the doors for the private club members only for this reason, because of the bastardization that's been happening out there and people stealing and robbing our information and doing all kinds of things with it. So we were not comfortable with that after being freely sharing and supporting people for 2 years and putting all my hard-earned energy and work into this, and my whole life's experience with many wonderful teachers that I've learned from into this, and people took advantage, which um, was not pleasant feeling. But this is the world of the internet. It's all about marketing and hype, and so on and so forth. And we are not doing that. We are here as a support system to support people on this journey as a lifestyle. As a lifestyle, MFS is a lifestyle of less is more, and the people that are the doers are the ones that have been sticking around since we started sharing this. A lot of us here, um, it's amazing what starts happening as you start living this lifestyle. Um, some people have been at this for just over 2 years since we started sharing it, and it seems like they haven't solved all their issues. A couple of years is just a start. A couple of years just to start. I've shared my situation where it took me over 5 years to clear out my lung mucus problem. Over 5 years. And then I built it up again on high fat raw vegan. So, you know, 5 years is a cheap payback time, from my understanding, through a lifetime of living, plugging myself up. you know, eating all kinds of foods and partying and drinking and everything. 5 years was cheap payback time. It wasn't complete, but it cleared up that severe mucus problem that I had at that time, and it was severe. I had a chronic mucus problem. I was one that, if anybody got sick, I'd be the first one who got sick. Colds, flus, and had bronchitis twice and all kinds of stuff when I was younger. So, you know, we have a new understanding, Diane, and this new understanding is understood by few. And the ones who stick around and interact and ask questions and read and watch videos, they're the ones who are starting to gain the understanding through their experience. Through their experience, there's nothing what I say. What we're saying, what we're mentoring is just a guide to, you know, help people and do this, that. But the experience is is the best teacher, and
Yes, to make you believe. Your experience will make you believe.
yeah, this is where the faith and the trust comes in your own soul. This is what fasting is. It's gaining the trust and the faith in your own soul, which comes from the source. That's where we need to have that faith, and this is what's lacking. And this is where the emotional roller coaster rides come, because there's no spiritual side of people. There's no focus in the spiritual side. Fasting will bring that out if you maintain the lifestyle. It'll bring it out of you. You're gonna connect with God and connect with Source to find that balance. You're not gonna find it in matter state. You're not gonna find it. There's all kinds of diets and all kinds of things out there, and people are jumping from one protocol to another protocol and another protocol, and they're actually diets because protocol, when you're eating, it's not a protocol because you're not really doing any cleansing. You're eating. No matter what you're eating, you know, there's different levels of obstructions, fruit being the least, but you're still eating. And this is the fallacy of the cleanses that are mostly out there until you're actually doing a true fast, which is dry fasting. That's the only true fast. When you're drinking, you're not fasting, really. But in today's toxic man, we have a little bit of prudence and from all the experiences, so we can use these tools to wash. That's why we're going back and forth on dry, and we keep repeating that. Just like a dirty sponge, you squeeze, you put clean water, you squeeze, you put clean water, and you keep doing that over and over and over. Sometimes you got to do it so many times to clean out the gunk out of the sponge. So our whole body's made from that sponge. And this is what the master fast system is. It's cleaning up the sponge, all the pipes within this physical and emotional bodies, because we're doing it at both levels. Once you work on the physical, you're automatically working on the emotional level. And this is where we use the tools to assist us, because to do it on your own, good luck. Good luck without the tools.
Yeah, you want to use the tools. She's asking, I've heard you say not to take herbs if you're eating. Why is that?
Because you're going to plateau. The herbs start being used as foods very quickly. And you can, if you like, throwing your money away. That's my understanding with what I came to through this knowledge. The herbs can only do their work. The true magical work is when you're not eating. I've mentioned many times, eating and healing do not belong in the same sentence. This is what I just said about people doing protocols while they're eating. What protocol is that? It's a diet. What are you trying to do? Yeah, you may be eating, lighter and better than you were before, and you're going to get some kind of cleanse, but it's only going to go so far. You're going to plateau. So once you use the same herbs as a diet, and when you're eating for, let's say, 2-3 months, the body starts getting used to them. The herbs say, okay, you're still eating, not much more it can do, and it starts using them as foods. That's what starts happening. So you got to keep changing formulas, this, that, and the other thing. You're always going to be at a certain level. When you fast, the key about fasting is that few understand is the body automatically goes into that elimination mode. It takes about 24 hours, maybe a little more for some. As soon as it gets into that elimination mode, everything changes. And you introduce the herbs when you're in that elimination mode. then they can really start doing their magic and going into the stagnant areas and start drawing in the physical and the emotional body
I
and help.
actually,
Huh?
I actually love the herbs the most when I'm dry fasting.
Oh yeah, it's awesome, awesome.
Yeah,
They
they,
they
they give
just
you energy.
they just open up the energy channels, and you don't need much when you're dry fasting. Maximum half a dose. This is how we have that training protocol also for the dry fast. You know, we've had people who could barely do a 24-hour dry fast, and now they're doing 36. No, sorry, 3 days, 4 days without a problem after a year of practicing what we're sharing in our protocols. You know, so this is what we do here. We support master fast system. We don't support any of the other fallacy cleansing systems out there, whatever it is, because most of us that have come to master fast, a big percentage of us, have been through all those other protocols and systems out there, and there's no purpose for them.
I mean, massive fast is a smart fast. That's how I see it. The rest is, it's not our business.
There's no purpose. It's just a
It's not
lifestyle.
our business.
It's
But,
yeah. If you want to learn how to eat, they're great. They're great. There's some, you know, learning how to eat fruit, great. But
massive fast is easy. It's easy.
mhm.
It's easy.
It's
Makes it simple.
it's simple. It's a simple, very structured, detailed way to
But smart.
cleanse.
Definitely very smart. I call it a smart fast because it really helps. It really helps you release without feeling tired. Because there are, I see clients who are fasting. Um, it's not a smart way of doing the fast, or yeah, I mean, or changing their diets. Massive
Yeah,
fast is easier. It's
there,
easier to really clean up fast quickly.
there's a lot of people out there doing dry fast and eating regular diets of, you know, everything. And I just shake my head. I go, what are these guys trying to do? I don't understand. They're just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and shocking the body both ways. So we have a little bit of a new understanding, and it's wonderful that we're able to achieve the things we were able to achieve because of this new understanding. And it didn't happen overnight, Diane. It was many years of trial and errors and almost killing myself. And like I said, from many wonderful teachers. Not everything, I take credit for nothing. It's just information that came through me, through my stubbornness. I had to put things to the test because I didn't have anybody else to get information from, to really get any answers for me, and just continued on and on, year after year after year. I was so stubborn, I never stopped fasting. I was continually doing my season change fasts, like clockwork. I've missed very few in the last 27 years. Every season change, I automatically would be looking forward to either a 7 to 14 day fast of various different types. And then there was many different long ones, many master cleanses, which have no power. Green juice cleanse fasts, no power. Raw juice fasts, no power. They're all limiting. They are all very limiting. Once you get into the cooked pasteurized juice, look out. And we've seen the results with many thousands of people. What is she right here?
Yeah.
Gino and Rana, I appreciate you. You're amazing. You're welcome. This is what we're here for. We're here to support people on this journey and not um, have people feel abandoned where they don't know what's going on. We try and bring clarity to what's happening. It's very scary for some people because they have tremendous healing reactions. And when you gain the understanding, each healing reaction will be less and less scary. And then your trust and faith goes up and up and up. And then every time something comes, you have more confidence and you understand. Just use the tools and get through them, and use the enemas, etc., etc., etc. The first thing, line of defense for any healing reaction is enema and breath work. Those are automatic enema. Anything, whatever it is, enema. Like I've said this before, if they put the colon therapist hydrotherapists in all the emergency rooms, the hospital costs would go way down. So why would they do that? Why would they do that? They lose all kinds of money. They would
Well,
save all
they
kinds
don't
of.
know. Many people don't know. They have no idea. Not
Yeah,
the
but I'm
doctors, not the patients. Nobody knows.
never. Yeah,
Honestly.
and you know, traveling. I never travel without my enema bag. It always comes with me. First line of defense, enema. No matter what, no matter what you feel, whatever pain, this, that, injury, enema is only going to help you. It is so simple and effective. So, you know, with the breath work.
I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, really, people must be responsible and learn about their health and not wait for the system to change because it's not the responsibility. Your health is not the responsibility of the system.
We've we've learned so much from people doing the master fast in the last 2.5 years or so, and it's amazing. It's amazing how we learn from each other. It's the only way we're going to learn. That's why I like to say we love to share the good, the bad, what people believe is the ugly, and the beautiful. The bad, even the bad and ugly. There is no bad and ugly, but it seems to be with the limited understanding about fasting. It's the illusion of the bad and ugly. Um, it's all good when you're
I
fasting.
want I wanted to add that when you were mentioning fasting, you were fasting and it had no power before the master fast. Not even close as the power of the master fast. Um, before I met Gino, 2 years before I met Gino, I did a 100-day raw juice fast, mainly cantaloupe, and it was not powerful at all. And for after that, my eating habits were not good after the fast because after a long fast, it's always tricky to get back in a good routine. Um, but I remember I said to myself, you know, like I'm not gonna fast again. That's it. I'm done after the fast. It was not powerful. I can tell you that compared to the massive fast. Maybe it had some power, but nothing compared to the massive fast. Massive fast, I was dumping stuff that I've never seen before. The smell, the amount of mucus that was coming out of me, I just could not believe it. With colonics, like you can see it. So like big,
Yeah.
thick slugs almost. So yeah, so
If you listen,
it had no power what I did before, and when I did the massive fast, it was extremely powerful. Very smart. And the dry fasting, I did not know anything about dry fasting until massive fast. Very powerful. The kidney filtration was much better. Um, I was not hungry or thirsty. I was completely full when I was on the massive fast compared to the one. Well, yeah, I, it's different, definitely different. Um, I mean, yeah, the dumping, and also before I did not lose weight. The amount of juice that I was drinking was, I think, I did not care. Whereas with Gino, again, the massive fast is very smart. There is a limit. Drink no more than that much juice. You don't want to be drinking all day. That's another thing. So I was over drinking. So this is very, very, very well designed, guys. Whoever is new to this is very well designed by experience, from experience. It's not just any fast. It's designed very well to make the whole thing easier and much more efficient.
yeah. Um, if you've listened to any of my interviews, which I don't think you have, like we assume people that come on these calls are already familiar with the protocol and so on and so forth. But I've shared my story, my first 40-day fast. I ended up in bed for 2 years with chronic kidney, sciatic nerve, and bladder problems. It was with Concord grape juice, cooked, pasteurized, and that's all I used back then. A little bit of lemon here and there. And back then I didn't have any support, understanding, no internet, no nothing. So it was an agonizing 2 years to come out of that. But the clarity of what happened back then came many, many years later, and with many, many, many different, many fasts and much more research and so on and so forth of what happened. And it's what I talked about earlier. I drowned in my own filth, and the body couldn't get rid of it because today's toxic man is at a point that man is so toxic today, probably more than it's ever been in the history of humanity on this planet that we know of. And it's these toxicities are not natural, and that's the challenge. That's the challenge. The body stores this stuff because it doesn't know what to do with them. It can't recognize them. They're not part of nature structure. They're not part of design. So the body stores them, and when you fast, the body dumps them, and it becomes overwhelming to dump all these things all at once. And this is why we have the master fast system, so the body can wisely, prudently open up the channels and dump. So that's the basics of it. That's the basics. So what time are we at? Okay. Oh wow, we're almost at 2 hours. Time just flies. But yeah. So anything else for last questions before we wrap it up, or that's it? All right. How's the arm, Sandy? You're hiding away there?
No, I'm not hiding. I put my castor oil and turpentine on.
All right. You'll be fine.
Yep. I know.
Just
It's so stinky. It's gross, but yeah.
yeah. Keep your eye on it. Keep doing the stuff, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Don't. If you have to have it looked at, you have to have it looked at. But you know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I won't ever do that.
It's the options. Yeah, I know, but don't. Sometimes an emergency service could help somebody. So we don't shun them at all completely.
I know that.
Right? But we have to be wise, and we have to come to an understanding. And this is why, for myself, it's an absolute last resort to go to those places myself. But each person has to make that choice to themselves wisely, of to go or not to go.
Right.
I've recommended quite a few people to go to ER because the level of understanding is just not there. So it's best for them to go be taken care of and stabilized.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the reality of the situation with today's toxic man. So it's all okay. But when you go to these places, if you go, ask a lot of questions. When I was back and forth,
I'm not gonna like that, Gino.
I know. When I was back and forth in the hospice with my dad, God rest his soul, I drove the doctors nuts there. One time, this Chinese pharmacist, starting asking her all kinds of questions. She goes, I wish everybody would ask questions like you. I go, what? Nobody asks questions? She goes, nobody. I go, nobody asks any question? She goes, absolutely nobody.
Yeah,
My
she's a pharmacist.
goodness. She goes, and she had a grandmother who was into the herbs and was upset that she went into pharmacy. She told me the story because then I started talking to her about I'm into herbs and all that. So I go, I want to know everything. She goes, I wish everybody would ask questions. So it just shows you the numbed out state that people take the white jacket as God. They believe and trust in it. They don't even ask questions. And I was so shocked by that.
I mean, it makes sense because, in a way, because they studied the most. Or they studied a lot, okay? So you respect them more. You would think they know more. So it's very confusing for people as well.
Yeah,
so
but
it makes a little bit of sense, but it does not make, generally, it doesn't make sense. Because you know what? They lost common sense. People have lost common sense by trusting. I mean, come on, you don't need to be smart to know that you don't need to take a pill for the rest of your life. I mean, do you really have to be smart to know this?
Well, the thing about MFS is you're not trusting in MFS. You're trusting in your body, his intelligence, and your soul. That's where you're getting you're putting all your faith in. This is just a roadmap. It's just like we're driving a car, we give you the instructions how to operate the car, and we give you the roadmap where to go. And then it's up to you to trust yourself to drive that car. It's this is what Masterfast is. It's you know, and many people have taken this roadmap and have succeeded beyond belief because it's a very good, clear, structured roadmap for people to use and gain that confidence within themselves, within their own soul. That's what Masterfast is. So it just cleans your pipes. It just helps you clean the pipes. Pipes start clearing, magic starts being revealed, and starts happening like I've never seen anywhere else. So it's just a beautiful thing to be able to be part of this and support the people who are serious and wanting to take charge of their health matters, because it's so tiring listening to people that they believe they have no options, but they don't want to change anything in their lives. It's like, okay, go see your doctor. I don't want to hear it anymore. But the people who are wanting to take charge, I'm there 100%, and I'm going to back them up and do the best I can, support them, because the magic is there. Inga, you want to ask something?
Hi everyone.
Hello.
I have a question, Gino. I done 12 days and I start to experience anger.
Anger? Okay.
Yeah. And like I can feel it's way like really deep in. It comes up and then I just notice myself just when I came home I just started eat when I just could not stop.
Okay.
It's just what would be your suggestion?
What do you believe triggered the anger?
There was my friend committed suicide, and I was
Recently?
yeah,
Oh boy, sorry to hear.
and I was translating for her boyfriend, and like I can like what I can see so much is relates to like what has happened in the family rather than a blame, and I don't know, it's a male, and I would say it's a lot of anger from in deep inside is towards male.
So towards why did he do it?
Like I wouldn't even ask myself questions, but I think that like his actions triggered
Yeah.
whatever I have repressed in me.
No, but this is why we're asking the questions, to try and go within and find out what actually triggered it. I know the actual suicide brought this anger up, but there's that reason that of the understanding of what actually makes the anger come to you, because once we understand, we can't create or destroy energy; it can only be transformed. So death is just a transition. This is not a way we want to go out. We don't want to commit suicide. I want to die healthy. That's my goal. But it's maybe there's that anger of maybe there's something you could have done to help. Is that, could it be something there or something like that to help him avoid this situation, that you weren't there for him?
I mean, usually we'd be angry at ourselves if we're angry. If we have reactions, if we have reaction, it's like something, it's usually anger. And we are angry at ourselves for something, blaming ourselves for something.
This is what I'm saying. So she's maybe internalizing, she's kind of blamed because she wasn't there for him to help him stop and talk him out of this.
Or whatever, maybe an experience with him in the past or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, and like I find, I was talking to my sister about this because when I fast, like I am way more sensitive, and I find it sort of difficult to allow to come up whatever needs to come up. As I
Yeah.
say to her, I have a daughter, and I sort of really worried, like what she's gonna think, how she gonna react to what I need to go through, what I need to go through.
Hmm. Well, if you explain to her that, with the understanding there's all kinds of emotions that happen when you're going through these fasts and so on and so forth, and say, it might say things that, are not proper or whatever, but please understand it's nothing personal. It's just part of the detoxification, so on and so forth. But honestly, back to what's the remedy for anything that happens? Enemas. Castor oil pack on the liver. If you're getting anger, get some of that movement in the liver area. Start, acupressure points, burn stick, breath work. Got to move energy, because when that anger comes up, what happens? There's a stagnation of energy happening, and usually in the liver area for anger. So we want to move the energy. Enema, we want to move energy, Inga.
Mhm.
And it's okay, you did what you did, you've eaten, but come back to your senses now, come to realize, and it's um, we go back to food, we think it's going to solve the issue, but I can tell you and assure you that it's much easier going through stress times when you're fasting than when you're eating. Way easier, way easier. It's that illusion that we're missing something or this whatever when we're eating. And it's just not, no, it's much easier on us when we fast to go to stressful times. So
That
I
you're gonna
talked
be
about,
detoxing. You're gonna be detoxing, so maybe also detoxing, of course, emotions.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
not gonna be super smooth, but it's much easier than when
yeah.
you're eating.
See, also when you're eating, right, whatever it is you're eating doesn't matter, but when you're eating, there's always emotions attached. It could be a million different types of emotions. So every single bite of meal you've taken in your life, there's an emotion attached. Now, with this anger, and you're eating, that anger gets locked up into the physicality of this food as energy and goes into the body and becomes your body. And you lock up more of that anger within the body. So this is going to have to be released at a later time. And how do you release it? You fast it out. So why do we want to lock in more emotions? That's why stressful situations, whether you're angry, you're upset, grief, these are not good times to eat. When we eat, we should be very happy and calm. If not, the best thing to do is to miss the meal and give yourself an enema and go for a walk. Keep yourself busy. Do some breath work. This is the best thing to do. And you'll come to this understanding if you practice this and try it. Yeah, sometimes you're going to feel like whatever, and you're going to go and eat. And then you're going to come to the understanding eventually when you do it again and you don't eat this next time, and you do use the tools and you go through it. And then you're going to see, oh, wow, it got released and it wasn't that bad. You may shed some tears or this, that, and the other thing. So this is going to come through the understanding through the experiences. Don't beat yourself up, whatever, no big deal. Just clean yourself up and can continue, because that's the best thing you can do. Let's elevate the soul of your friend to peace, balance, and correct conduct throughout all the universes for perpetuity. Um, we hope he can find balance.
Or,
You know,
or,
her. Oh, sorry, her. Uh, we hope she can find balance. Uh, it's sad, but suicide. It's the amount that's happening these days. It's insane. It's insane. What's driving people to do this? They're so toxic physically, emotionally. They're so blocked up. They can't think straight anymore. The mind, the thoughts that are going through their heads are not theirs. It could be whatever. It could be parasites. It could be entities. It could be whatever that's driving them to do these things that normal people, so-called normal people, wouldn't do in a balanced state. Why would you want to end your life? It's not going to solve anything. You're still going to be with yourself when you end your life. You're just not going to have a body. So let's deal with it now, and let's transition the way we're supposed to transition when it's time to go, when we're called. All right. But it's happening a lot these days, suicide. I was reading not too long about the suicide rates around the world. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. It just shows how much imbalance is out there, how much people are suffering emotionally. Emotionally, they're very, very in a struggling situations. They're crying for help, and there's nowhere they can turn that they believe that they can get help, and that's why they end their lives in whatever way. So if there's anybody that you feel is in trouble in that way, offer to help as any way you can. Fasting is a way to bring balance in every situation. Um, Sometimes a lot of these is caused by pharmaceuticals. It drives people mad. Was she on pharmaceuticals? Yeah, there you go. It's very sad. Almost killed my mother. The damn things with seizures and stuff, panic attacks. It was insane, the thing that I had to go through. But why people choose to do this stuff, as I was talking earlier, they don't ask questions. Um, they believe in the pharmaceuticals, white jacket, doctor stuff, blindly, complete blindly. Stuff that's
Even
only,
even when their John is when their son is Gina.
yeah. They even, you know, um, I don't know. I don't know. Um, there's much better ways, that's for sure. Much better ways to bring some balance in our lives. Um, some of these pharmaceuticals, man, I don't know why they're on the market, but we do know why. It's always the bottom line is the most important thing for any business. Bottom line, and it's sad. It's sad that people are taken advantage of. That just don't know any better.
People, it's time for humanity to start being responsible for themselves. We
Of
cannot
course.
blame it on people in power, because you know what, they don't have the power. They don't have you. You give it to them. If you
Yeah,
think you have the power,
we have the power
I
to
don't believe they
educate
have the
ourselves.
power. I
We have
don't believe they have the power. I believe
we,
the power is in God's hands, not a human being. It's in God's hands. So
well,
I'm.
we
It's
have the power to educate ourselves today. We can ask questions. We have that power, but it just shows how powerful and effective programming is to put people in these states where they don't even ask questions anymore. And that's one thing that when I started waking up um, to different degrees about things was probably in my late teens, early 20s. And then the health thing came a little later, but I started questioning a lot of things as how things work and so on and so forth, the money system and etc. But Inga, you can do it. You know you can do it. You've pulled through before. You've mentioned before you having these challenges to allow these emotions to turn up. So this was one opportunity where the emotion turned up, and um, you didn't allow it to flow, and that's okay. Now, I hope you have a little more understanding and you know what to do to try and let it flow. Just allow it to flow. Give yourself that space and enemas and breath work, and you'll see it'll sound, it'll feel like you're gonna explode or whatever this when this emotion comes through. But once the energy starts moving, oh, you're gonna feel so much better after. It's just like when somebody cries and cries and cries after they feel so much better because they've moved energy that was blocked. And that's the key, to move that energy. Okay, so we sorry to hear that again. Condolences, and I think we'll wrap it up. We're past the 2 hour mark. So we thank you guys for joining in. and inspiring each other.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's continue to keep the plasma love flowing, and keep inspiring people and supporting each other. And it's awesome. All right. Ciao for now.
Yeah.
Ciao.